Hello, I'm Carol Smith from Northeast Counselling Services. And one of the things that I get asked quite a lot is how to keep yourself mentally motivated. And especially in this difficult situation at the moment, how to get motivated for 2021. Well, we're back into lockdown, which is something some people didn't expect and some people did. And with that comes all of the challenges, especially if you're a parent and you've got children at home, or you're caring for an older relative or somebody who is vulnerable. So what we need to do is to really think about the things that we have to do and prioritize those. And there can't be many organizations out there who will complain about you having to juggle parental responsibilities or caring responsibilities with the work that you're expected to do. And what I would say is just don't put too much pressure on yourself. Help yourself by thinking, okay, what is good enough? What can I do at this moment in time? How many people set out New Year's resolutions at the beginning of this year? What we tend to do is have a great big list like this, and actually that just defeats the point of the exercise because we feel overwhelmed before we even start. There's been quite a lot of research done about making small changes and how you can make incremental changes. And if you do a small change every day, then by the end of the year, that will lead to a big change. And what we've got to do is make sure that they are changes that we can link to something else. So maybe, if you want to do something for exercise, do it after you've brushed your teeth so that it becomes a routine every day, and do some little things. If you improve every single day by 1%, which is tiny, if you think about it, by the end of the year, you will have improved by 37%. So think about what you're going to do and make the resolutions that you have much smaller so that you can get incremental change. This is something that the British Olympic cycling team did. They looked at all the small things that they could change by a small amount, and they went from a team where cycle companies were quite frankly embarrassed to have them riding their cycles to an organization where they were winning lots and lots of gold medals. So think about your goals. Think about, can I break them down into much, much smaller parts? And if you do then fail or you don't complete it on a particular day, you don't have a huge amount to catch up on the next day. Be kind to yourself in this respect. There's lots and lots of research that shows that if you have a growth mindset, it does improve your mental well-being. And this will obviously help you to achieve the goals that you want in a different way. So instead of thinking the negative thoughts like the ones on the left-hand side, try to replace those thoughts when you recognize them with the ones on the right-hand side, the growth mindset. So, thinking about, is it really, I can improve on this? Is this the best I can do? This may take some time. Um, and just recognize that mistakes do help you learn. If everything goes really well, then what do you learn from that? But if you make a mistake and you learn from it and change the way you do it in the future, then that can really help you. So developing a growth mindset is a can-do attitude, a positive attitude, instead of failing before you even start. Again, there's been lots and lots of research about gratitude, and expressing gratitude every day for the things that are in your life can really help you to change your mindset. So if you are the kind of person who does have a negative attitude and you think quite negatively all the time, keeping a gratitude journal every single day, maybe 2 or 3 things at the beginning or the end of the day for things you're grateful for, will really help. And start off small, think about just the little things, the fact that you can maybe go out for a walk at lunchtime when it's still light. You don't have to wait till the end of the day. If you're an early bird, maybe you can start work earlier. if you're a night owl, maybe you can have a little bit of a lie in before you start your working day. All those little things that we're getting from lockdown can really boost you. And if you do it for a few months, write the gratitude journal down, you'll start to realize that your first thoughts are positive thoughts. So it changes you from those pessimistic thoughts to the positive thoughts, because we're forming a new habit. So think about, what are you grateful for? What's going on in your life that is good? And focus on those things at least once a day. One of the things that people tend to be fairly poor at is asking for help. And sometimes it's because we don't know what help is available. And other times it's because we sometimes think it's a hassle. If we ask somebody to help us, do you have to then explain what they've got to do? And do you worry that people don't do things in the way that you want them to? And asking for help is more about you understanding what you want help with. So if you want somebody to take away the meal planning, or the doing the dishes, or just little things like picking stuff up off the floor, then ask for that help. Have a really good think about what you want that person to do and explain it to them, and make it explicit. Don't hint, don't be passive aggressive when you're asking for help. Make sure that you say to somebody, I could do with some help, and really, this is what I would like you to do. If they can't do that, then that's absolutely fine, but you're encouraging people, you're telling them what's expected, and then you're asking them, would you be able to do that for me? And sometimes we do all get ourselves into a martyr state. No, it's fine, I'll cope. Yes, I can do that. But don't take on too much. Start to say no to people if they're expecting you to do things that are outside of your remit. And if you find that you're taking on work because somebody can't manage it, what's the option? What can you do differently? So think about the workload you've got, the outside of workload you've got, and think about where you can share it out between people. Quite often too, the expectations that we have actually come from ourselves. If you're thinking to yourself, I must do this, I should do that, actually, where is the pressure coming from? Is it coming from your family? Is it coming from your partner? Is it coming from work? Or is it you thinking, I must do this? And are the expectations actually realistic? Do you expect that you'll be able to clean through your whole house every single week? Is that a realistic expectation? Have an examine of those expectations. And if you find they're far too high, or you can drop them a little bit, or the expectations coming from you and nobody's putting the pressure on, then, do something about it. Think about it. I worked with a colleague who she always left the phone on until 2 minutes before the office closed, and then it was a mad rush for her to get out of the office, and the cleaner was upset and things like that. And I said to her, why don't you just turn the phone off a few minutes before, give yourself some breathing space? And she said, well, where I worked last time, somebody rang up at 2 minutes to, and I'd put the phone on divert and I got into trouble. Well, yes, but who said that to you in this organization? You don't need to do that, because that's not expected of you in this organization. So think about those musts, shoulds, have got to. Where are they coming from, and what can you do to let them go? And one of the really most important things is that we don't keep our energy levels up. If you think about emotional energy, quite often these days, lots of us will be in the survival zone. We've got negative energy, which is draining us, and we're in the zone where we're using adrenaline, cortisol, caffeine, those stress hormones and kind of artificial chemicals to boost our energy, to keep us going. And then it's no surprise when we get dropped down into burnout zone, where we've got low energy, which is negative. And then we move into the recovery zone, which is where we're looking at positive energy, and think about where your positive energy comes from. What kind of things fill you up again when you've been feeling low? So it might be reading a book, it might be having a nice bath, it might be going out for a walk in nature. Whatever you do to increase that positive energy, think about how you can get that into your life while your energy is low. And that energy that you're putting in will then build your energy up until you're moving in the performance zone again. So think about, where am I on this emotional energy matrix, and what can I do to move myself over to the right hand side? And don't forget that you will probably need to go through the recovery zone, and be kind to yourself and build up your energy before you go into the performance zone. Don't put extra pressure on yourself. Again, we need to be kind to ourselves. How many times have you said things to yourself in your head that you would never say to a friend who is experiencing problems or whatever? Think about, what are you saying to yourself? Be aware of those messages. Be aware of how it makes you feel, and think, well, if it was a friend, what would I say differently? What would I do differently? And make sure that you're changing the way you talk and the way you think about yourself, as though you were a treasured friend, because we need to have positive energy inside ourselves, and that positive energy can start with us. So think about what your thoughts are, what are you saying to yourself, and how you can change it. Thank you for listening to this presentation. We want to help you live your life, not just survive. And there's lots more free resources on our website that you can access by clicking the link. Thank you very much.